And our technical expert. There's a little more left. We will have more stock-specific questions for Mayuresh, but for the moment, the second headline.
Absolutely. Mid-caps and small-caps rallied hard in trade, outperforming frontline indices. The mid-cap index up 2%, and the small-cap index ending the day 3% in the green. On your screen, actually even almost 4% in the green.
Meanwhile?
Well, Repco Home, Edelweiss, the stocks which should come up on your screen, and Graphite were the top gainers as far as the gainers are concerned. I guess viewers, Lata, will have lots of questions on
yes, we have a bunch of them, and let's pick the first one. This is Deepak Nair. He has written to us from Bangalore with a question on Graphite India. It used to be one of those stocks that almost bounded from high to high all of 2017. What he wants to know is the right time to buy some 200 shares of the company. Graphite India, is that a stock you look at, Mayuresh? You have a view?
Evening, Lata. No, so clearly I think the stock had performed very, very well before it went into a downturn. But 2-3 important aspects to be seen. A, I think how the utilization levels pan out for the company as a whole. Secondly, I think needle coke prices, I think how this pricing moves around is clearly going to affect the operating performance. And both these factors are probably going to create an effect in terms of how the EBITDA and the bottom line performs. So I think there are some elements in terms of how the earnings growth might move. There might be some curtailment in terms of the EBITDA margins because of shortage of needle coke or prices moving higher. So in my opinion, I think I am looking at other stocks. Financials is what I'm looking at this point of time. I think gold financing companies is something that I've been liking for a period of time, or even the private banks. I think there is ample scope even there over the next 1.5-2 years.
If Deepak wants to know, will you buy that stock?
So not at this point of time, as I said. I think I'm better off looking at private financials or the gold finance companies on declines.
Fair point. Okay, Graphite today, of course, had a roaring rally of 10%. Mitesh, more questions on this issue than perhaps on any others, because autos have been an attractive buy. And there are people who have told us that you should buy the distress. So here's one question on that. Hitesh Joshi from Pune has written with a question on Hero MotoCorp. He's been holding 20 shares of the company at 2,600 rupees a share. Says he's a long-term investor and he wants to know if he should hold or sell. 20 shares of Hero Moto at 2,600 rupees. Mayuresh, what would your advice be to this gentleman?
No, so Lata, I think if he has a long-term view, he should clearly hold on. Yes, I think the two-wheeler stocks are going through painful times. There is inventory levels in the system which has built up significantly, and they also witnessed insurance costs moving up, input costs moving higher. But there will be, over the next few weeks and months, normalization that will probably happen in the system. And as that happens, and what you've probably seen, at least at the entry level, because of Bajaj Auto, I think prices getting cut, you're probably seeing Hero MotoCorp evolve more as a rural story, which always has been the case. So if there are better monsoons, if you're expecting discretionary spending patterns to probably stabilize, I think the volume should hold up over the next few quarters. Though I think the pain might last over the next few weeks till volume normalize and the inventory probably gets out of the system. So if he has a long-term view, I think hold is a call that I would suggest.
Okay. Well, thanks for that advice. The question actually is not on ITC. The question is on the other stock we mentioned in the headline, Tata Motors. Mohammed Gauss from Kolkata has written with a question on Tata Motors. Says he's been holding 12,500 shares almost, and the purchase price is 540. Oh no. Oh no. What should he do? Mayuresh?
No, Lata, so I think he unfortunately has to hold on for a longer period of time. What you probably saw in the numbers were a little bit encouraging, but I think the biggest market, which is the high margin market, the Chinese market, is still showing signs of softness. The Indian markets and the domestic MHCV/LCV market and the PV market is holding up. But the contribution to EBIT and EBITDA is far lesser than what JLR probably posts. Again, the kind of impairments that they've taken and the hit on cash flows can probably ensure or probably curtail the kind of earnings growth or the momentum that the stock has. So unless he gives a long period of time, I think he probably needs to have that much amount of patience, Lata.
I know, very, very unfortunate. People who buy should perhaps have stop losses. Fifth and the last headline that leaves us with no time for questions. Mitesh Mayuresh, thank you very much for joining us and taking questions of our viewers. And that's it on this edition of Market Style.